Hi, thanks everybody for tuning in. My name is EJ Quantamans. I do appreciate your support and checking out the videos. If you haven't already done so, feel free to subscribe to the videos or subscribe to the channel, and feel free to share my channel with your contacts. I do appreciate that. Today, I want to speak a little bit about community and what is community and the role of the community with respect to whatever situation or circumstances that arise within the community. How do people respond? And so I suppose I could speak about the simplistic definition of what a community is, right? It perhaps is a group of people that perhaps reside in a geographical region. That might make up the definition of a community. It can mean perhaps a number of people that you socialize, your social community, your social interactions with people within the community. It could mean perhaps your work environment. That's a community. It could mean perhaps the individuals that you socialize at a gym, the gym community, for example, the bingo community. Many people who go to bingo, they have a sense of community and they know one another, and so that could be a community in itself. I'm an artist. I do a lot of sewing, and so there is a huge arts community that I'm a part of. So that might define what a community is as well for me. But in terms of the role of a community, or the role of its members of the community, may differ depending on which community you are speaking about. I come from a small First Nation community called Whitesun First Nation, approximately 21 hours northwest of Toronto. It's about 3 hours north of the city of Thunder Bay, actually, and it falls under the 1850 Robinson Superior Treaty territory. And so in my community, we are known as the Northern Woodland Anishinawbe, and the band list of its members is in and around 2,300 people, so it's a relatively small First Nation band list. But the people who reside on First Nation are anywhere between 400 and 600 people, depending on the time of the year. So that gives you context about the community that I'm going to speak about. You see, when we speak about community, I like to make the reference to my late Uncle Joseph Quantamans, who was known as a wonderful hunter and a guide, and oftentimes provided for the community. So when we speak about our Indigenous culture, customs, practices, and beliefs, my uncle was a hunter, and he was taught by his father and his grandfather the natural laws of hunting. And one of the greatest teachings that I remember him telling me as a little boy was it's important that the men, who are the protectors, provided for the community. And that really resonated with me. So I'll challenge individuals of all of our communities, all of our First Nations, all of our men, and also women too, who hunt. I challenge you to provide for your community and seek out the elders in your community who perhaps have mobility issues, who don't have the luxury of going into the bush to hunt anymore. Hunt and provide for your community members, more specifically your elders, and sit with them and ask them about those teachings of hunting, the days that they used to hunt, and all those teachings that went along with hunting. You see, my uncle had such great joy when he would kill an animal like a moose, harvest it, and just give the meat to the community, give the meat to the elders. We would oftentimes see elders come down the street with their pots and pans, come to our home, and they were given this meat, and then they would go home. And oftentimes those elders would speak about how there were specific individuals in the communities that were given that role to hunt and provide for its members of that community. We don't see that too often anymore. We have the conveniences of going to the grocery store and purchasing food. The art of harvesting wild game and going through that ceremonial aspect of that loss of life for that animal and its intent and purpose behind it, which is to feed your family, seems to have been lost. Now, there are some communities out there that continue to practice those customs and those practices in the art of hunting. So hats off to you that do, but there are those First Nations who don't. And so I ask and I challenge all of our young people to hunt and to provide for the elders and sit with them and talk and own your place in the community as a protector, as a provider, as a hunter. I use that analogy and that teaching because when times were rough, food was scarce. It was the community hunters that would oftentimes go out for days and hunt. And then they would come back and there'd be a celebration and then there would be a feasting, the ceremony of feasting. The protectors and the hunters, they would know their role. They would know the responsibility to the community and they would provide in that respect. There was no questions asked. If there were any animosities in the community, if there was any politics that may have existed, families that were in rivalry with one another, at the end of the day, the ceremony of food was given to each and every one of those family members, regardless of whatever climate or whatever politics or drama or chaos was happening in that time. Food was just provided. You put down your differences and you provided without question. You know, nowadays we have people who have to question every aspect of what one is doing. If the act is a wonderful, positive gesture, there seems to be this notion, this mindset of people who, well, what do they want? Why are they doing this? Why are they giving me this? There's always this ability to question. And sometimes we just need to take a step back and just say thank you. That's it. Someone is offering you something, offering you help, and they're supporting you. Just say thank you. That's it. And so community is made up of many different people with many different personalities, many different mindsets. But if we speak about the role of community from the clan systems perspective, you see, clan systems is our natural, indigenous, traditional governing ways of maintaining balance in our communities. Each person, being that it's a patrilineal system, knew their roles and responsibilities to the community. The community could not function without everyone in that community of those clans working together. Nowadays, we don't see that. We have politics and people arguing and this notion of being territorial and I live here, you live there, there's a fence between us. This mindset that has been adopted really has damaged the old original teachings of clan systems. Now, there have been many different policies and procedures and guidelines and bureaucracy and political red tape and all this sort of stuff in today's day that has affected how we operate as Indigenous people under the clan systems. Not a lot of communities function from the clan systems anymore. There are individuals who might know who their clan systems are, what their clan systems are, But that's where it stops. For example, people talk about, in the community, they talk about, I am from the Moose clan, or I'm from the Bear clan, I'm from the Wolf clan, or the Fish clan. But it almost becomes a script because there's no action that is following that title of that clan. If we traditionally look and take a step back, community is made of all many different types of people that have roles and responsibilities that have to work together. If they don't work together, they're not honoring those original teachings, and therefore we have chaos and fighting, and we have disorder. And clan systems are to not have that. And the community supports and lifts one another up and works through whatever challenges that they are presented. Everybody has to pull their socks up. Everybody has to assume their role in the community. Because if they don't, the community suffers. So in today's context, we have communities that exist, and in my opinion, these communities may not be functioning to the level that they can be, because somewhere down the line, those teachings of clan systems, the roles and responsibilities of community members have been disconnected, has been lost perhaps, has been forgotten, perhaps has been erased. And so we need to take a step back and start revisiting these teachings, because clan systems teach us about how our communities are supposed to function. They're not supposed to be operating in such a way where there is chaos. They're supposed to be operating in a harmonious, respectful way where everybody is equal and everybody has value and everybody has a piece to the puzzle and everybody benefits from it. So community is very, very important. And in Toronto, there is a large Indigenous community. There's approximately 75 to 85,000 Indigenous people from many different backgrounds that come to Toronto, that call Toronto home. And it's known as the largest First Nation in Canada. And so community, for me, means that everybody has to step up to the plate. Everybody has a degree of ownership to help and support one another. And I think sometimes we forget that. And it's easier to be bogged down with the negative, and the positive tends to get put to the wayside. And I think we need to shake our heads and re-look at how we interact with one another and the importance of community and the members' roles within the community. You see, we're in a very challenging, unique, difficult time that it requires each and every one of us to step up to the plate and to support one another. When someone is faced with a challenge, is struggling with something, we must step up. We must support one another. We have to put our differences down and just lend a helping hand. And for some people, that could be challenging in itself. On the receiving end, some people have difficulty accepting help. Maybe sometimes I'm one of them. But at the end of the day, I do know that if I do need help, swallow your pride and say thank you and allow the help to come your way. I can talk forever on this notion of community, but I want to be able to share that I have a friend in my life who is experiencing one of the most challenging times in her life, to a point where I hear and I see in her choice of words and how she carries herself that she feels that she perhaps may be broken. This is a person who has dedicated many years of her work experience to community and just does the work that she does, not for recognition, but for the sake of just doing the work. And who benefits? The community. There are people in our community that just do this phenomenal work because it just needs to be done. They have the skill set, they have the knowledge and the insight, and they just do the work. And so this person of mine, this friend of mine, is struggling. I can't get into detail with the circumstances, but she's a part of community. And as members of the community, and all the different clans that exist within our Indigenous community, we have a role and responsibility to lift and support one another without question. And so I will be making an announcement in the next couple days, a fundraiser to help generate funds that is going to be directed towards this cause that will help support this individual. This person has given her last dollar on her back to give to somebody when they were in desperate times and desperate need. Without question, she would offer a helping hand. You have helped me in my time of need, oftentimes. More recently, when I was presented with an emergency surgery for my dog, my little Brady, the surgery was extremely expensive. And it was either pay for the surgery or put him down. And putting him down was not an option if there was a way to save him. And each and every one of you rose to the occasion and supported me in my cause. And because of you, we were able to raise the funds to pay for the entire surgery cost for Brady. And so now I believe karma has an interesting way of revealing its face. And it is time for me to return the favor to somebody else. She does not know that I'm doing this video. She does not know that I'm having any intentions of raising funds for her. She has no clue. And so I'm asking each and every one of you to watch out for a fundraising cause and to donate what you can. I know I said I wasn't going to be doing a raffle anytime soon because I think there's been so many different raffles online with phenomenal different artists, but I think it's becoming very saturated now with a lot of raffles, and so I wanted to take a step back on a raffle. And but raffles do generate a nice source of income for various different causes, and so this is an important cause. So if I'm asking you to help donate, and if I'm saying that this money is going to go entirely towards this cause, know that that is the truth. That there's no benefit for me, no financial gain for me from this raffle, that all the money will be generated and be given a check to this individual. And it doesn't matter where the money comes from or who it's for. It's just that a community is here to support one another. And so this is what I can do. Some people may disagree with it. That's okay. While others may gladly contribute and purchase spots. I don't even know what the spots are going to be, how much it's going to cost. There are going to be a number of different items that are going to be available for this raffle. Once I do know, I will post it, and feel free to purchase. And we need to generate these funds in a relatively very quick time frame. I believe in 14 days we have to raise as much funds as we possibly can towards this cause. So I ask you, I urge you to step up as part of community and to help support one another and support me in this cause to help a dear friend who's given 25 years of work to the community. I know that she'll be eternally grateful, as I will be eternally grateful. So stay tuned for those updates, and stay tuned for further videos that I'll be posting moving forward. Miigwech, everybody stay safe, be well, and do take care of yourself.